We now stand for the Pledge of Allegiance of the American flag and remain standing for our invocation. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Oh, gracious God, we come now as humbly as we know how. Lord, first we want to say thank you for being so good to each and every one of us. We come tonight, oh Lord, not being selfish in our prayers. We're praying for those who are bereaved at this time, for there are many people who are bereaved, those who are sick and shut in. We pray for this body, pray for our county body, our state body, our United States body. Pray that you will let your will be done. Now, Lord, be with these, your people who are assembled here. Bless each and every one of them. We pray, oh Lord, that we'll do everything that's in the best interest of this city. We ask for your guidance. We ask that you allow us to be able to agree, to disagree. And we thank you, Lord, that we can move on in peace. These are the blessings we ask in your name. Amen. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Counselor Striplin? Here. Counselor Wood?
Here.
Counselor Brown? Here. Counselor Starnes? Here. Counselor Chambliss? Counselor Bowles? Here. Counselor Boone? Here.
Call this meeting to order. Character trait of the month is joyfulness, maintaining a good attitude even when faced with unpleasant conditions. And I guess that really fits good. Maintaining a good attitude even when faced with unpleasant conditions. Approval of the minutes from public hearing in the City Council July the 15th, 2014. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor of approval of those minutes signify by raising your right hand. Those minutes are approved. This time we have comments from persons present regarding tonight's agenda. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Ross Miller, 209 J Street. This is an update on the restoration that we discussed at last City Council meeting. Contractor was hired, came in, removed, repaired all rotten wood, siding, trim. We met with Anthony Cannell with the fire department. Mr. Cannell inspected all the repairs to the structure, and they were approved. All the trim, siding, doors, windows were repaired, reinstalled. Construction was complete on August the 4th, yesterday. There is some caulking that is yet to be done, but very little. All wood was primed. Some was painted before reinstallation. We'll have the final inspection this week with Officer Cannell to sign off on the construction project, and the painting should be complete middle of next week.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. This item is number one on our regular agenda after our consent agenda. Councilor Chambliss is not here. I believe he wanted to hold this for 2 weeks. It was his desire, and in 2 weeks they're here. We will vote on it tonight. I still think you will have the opportunity to do what you need to do, even if we vote on it tonight. You just need to get with Mr. Wilson.
I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am. Ms. Smith.
Again, I'm John Lee Finnegan at 211 Deer Trace. Regarding resolution number 1 to authorize the mayor to enter into a memorandum of understanding, I'm just curious as to why the $2,150,000 amount is not shown in the heading when other figures are shown.
Which resolution you spoke of, Ms.
Resolution number 2. I'm just curious because there's other figures shown in other resolutions. It's not shown on the agenda, is what I'm talking about.
It is my understanding, Mr. McDowell, could help me with this, that MOU is a lot longer than this page that we have here. We have a resolution, I believe, before us to allow the mayor to enter into an MOU, which is a document that can be changed if something needs to be changed there. So it's my understanding that the full MOU would have to be approved and everything will be in it, but it doesn't necessarily have to be in this heading.
But, excuse me, I'm sorry.
There's no requirement that every part
Right.
is in it. It's just for identification purposes, and the body is what really matters as far as what's binding by this council. So it didn't have to be in it. I know no legal authority required it.
Thank you.
On hiring resolution number 3, on hiring the one facilities maintenance superintendent, is this a new position or does it take the place of the division director's position?
That is a budgeted position that's already in the budget that has not been filled.
I beg your pardon?
It's a budgeted position that has not been filled, that's being filled now.
I have a copy of the 2013-2014 budget. Is this for the future budget?
No, it's a part of the budget that we have in place right now. That position has not been filled, it's being filled tonight.
So this is in addition to the facilities division director, the maintenance foreman, and the 3 maintenance technicians? This is the page from the budget, and that's what I'm asking. Is this a brand? It said
I don't have it before me, Ms. Finnegan, so we can move on. Mr. Doug, will you please come up and
That is the division director. When we went to the Public Works division, we changed the titles to superintendent. So
Okay,
this-
that's what. So it isn't a new position. Okay. Also, it says that what is just the salary portion of the $60,140 dollars? Is it the same as the division director at $43,089.19?
this is the total with benefits.
I understand that, but what is the salary portion?
Mr. Doug would have to look that up. I don't have that before me, Ms. Finnegan. If you would like to get that information, he can give it to you after this meeting. I don't have it here.
Okay, so is it still a department of 5 individuals
As of right now, but there are
as
some.
of right now?
Yes.
Okay,
There are
including the superintendent to be.
Yes. And there are some other things that are being worked on to place some people in that department. That's all that you're aware of right now.
Okay. All right. Number 4, it talks about the authorize the mayor to enter into an agreement for $73,000 to provide consulting services to develop and validate promotional process for sergeant, captain, and battalion chief with the fire department. I also have the budget page from the fire department, and I do see the fire sergeant, but I do not see battalion chief or captains. Are those going to be taking the place of some other positions, or is this a new position?
Ms. Finnegan, I think this resolution is to provide consulting services. All of the particular positions, I'm exactly not sure, but I will let the chief speak to it.
This is AUM doing a study and validating our current testing on all positions. It'll be over 3 years, and the budget, the $74,000 will be over 3 years, and it's budget neutral. We figured into the training and operational budget already. It's just validating the current testing that we're doing.
Okay.
Okay, what it talks about captains and battalion chiefs.
All this right here, this tells you how many that you have.
Where are the captains and the chief?
All captains have been changed, no pay change, no job description change. The title is changed from lieutenant to captain.
Okay.
That's the only thing.
And what about battalion chief?
Battalion chief,
Do I
Right here,
understand?
battalion commanders, I have 5 of them.
So they will become battalion chiefs.
No, they're already battalion chiefs. We had 2 name changes to meet national standards for the National Fire Academy to be able to get these people in. We went to a common standard, a captain in the engine
Okay.
company is a captain. This is just a no money change, no job description change. Battalion chief is now instead of commander.
Okay, that's, okay, great, that's what I wanted to know. I'm just curious also on this $73,000 figure, even though it's paid over the next 3 years, of why is this is costing so much, as it seems other cities' promotional processes could easily be used as references. And I'm just surprised about the $73,000 amount.
We'll let Councilman Bowles, he's on the fire committee.
We had a very in-depth study on this before we ever brought it. The fire committee did. This city runs on about what, a $38 million budget. We are a big business. We have to run it like a big business. This is the price of doing big business. It's not like a carpet store and you're doing $2 million. And so what we are doing is protecting our employees and protecting our citizens from lawsuits in the future if we were doing promotions wrong. And it's just a way a safety net for us. In the grand scheme of things, I know it sounds like a lot of money, but over 3 years, it's not a lot of money. As Chief said, it's budget neutral. We're just making sure we put it out there so everybody knows that we are validating our promotion system.
I understand that. I'm just saying it seems like other cities would have done the same thing.
Other cities are doing some
And
similar things.
So it seems to just collect their information and just tweak it. And for $73,000, it sounds like that's a lot of money for that.
It does sound like a lot of money, and I realize that,
Okay.
but over 3 years, that's really not for what we're getting for it.
Okay, all right. Resolution number 5 regarding the engagement letter with Jackson Thornton. Was this sent out to bid? Was it sent to other companies to bid?
I
'Cause
don't
we've done
think
with
so.
Jackson Thornton for some time. And I'm
We
just
we
curious.
have, and we are in the process, Ms. Finnegan, and are looking at bidding it out. But that needs to be probably 3 years. They're bringing someone in new at this late date. We feel like we need to use this firm to finish out this particular audit. Next time, we will be looking at it.
Okay. The $91,000, that does include the single audit price also?
I'm not sure, Mayor, is it?
Okay,
Yeah.
and how much is that? $12,000. How often has Jackson Thornton not had to do a single audit? I'm just curious as if rather than putting the single audit in there, just saying the total audit is
Doug?
91.
I think out of the last 5 years, we've not had a single audit but one time.
Okay, thank you. Resolution number 6 for the new Interceptor SUV. Will there be any additional equipment costs needed for this above the $26,018, and if so, how much?
I couldn't answer that, ma'am. It could be and it could not. I'm not an expert at that, but I will ask the chief if he needs to come up and there's a possibility they may need some
Okay.
equipment. There may be a possibility they need to take some off.
It'll be equipment that'll be in this year's budget, blue lights, radios, and that's already in the budget
Thank
for
you.
this year, and we have it in stock.
Do you know how much it is total?
No, ma'am, not with me.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go down to number 9, and it says to authorize the mayor to submit an application to the Alabama Historic Commission for a fiscal year 2015 enhancement grant. What is this for, and will there be any cost to the city?
Yes, sir.
That's actually for our museum roof over here, and actually, if we get that grant, it actually give us about a $10,000 grant for the roof over there.
Will we be giving any money for that in addition?
We'll be paying some money, additional monies on the roof, I believe. If
Okay.
I'm not mistaken, I think the estimate on the roof was about $25,000,
So
and so we're getting a $10,000 grant
15,000.
that we'll be paying.
Right, 10 to 15,000.
That's a good
from the city.
guesstimate.
Okay.
Of course, the longer that it takes, there might be more woodwork or something else.
Especially
in
after
there.
that rain we just had. Okay, thank you.
okay if I stay there?
I beg your pardon?
Okay if I stay there?
Oh, sure, sure. Okay, number 10, about the authorize the mayor to enter into an agreement with Marcus Cable for the purchase of the communication tower and property at no cost to exceed $80,000. What is the breakdown between the tower and the land cost?
It's all inclusive package.
How much land are we purchasing?
I don't have it here in front of us, but I think it's 8 to 10 acres. 8
Okay.
to 10 acres.
Okay.
7,
And who are
7
we?
acres.
And who are we purchasing it from?
They're right there on the agenda. On your agenda there.
Oh, so Marcus Cable owns it. So they own the land, the 8 to 10 acres, and the. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
7 acres.
Okay. All right. And why are we buying it?
Basically, that's where our first responders, and I actually have a statement in my opening comment.
Oh, okay.
If you don't mind, I'll be glad to
Okay.
answer that during that.
Okay. Also, since you're right here, who does the city have a franchise agreement with now for cable?
Multiple companies.
Okay. Does it include Charter?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. It says in here in ordinance, to construct, operate, and maintain. If we already have a franchise with them, what are they constructing?
They have to renew it every so many years.
But it says construction, operate, and maintain. To construct, operate, and maintain a cable system. I'm just curious if we're already they have the system in place, what is?
Well, travel has expanded, and so they're trying to keep up with the needs there.
Okay.
I know there's some areas that are actually right now don't have a phone line.
Okay. Do you have a cost of that? What the franchise agreement is?
Not with me, but if you want to come by the office, I'll
Okay.
be glad to sit down with you.
Okay, and number 12 is the one with Knology of Montgomery. Is that is that WOW?
Yes.
I believe it is.
It's WOW, so it's not Knology? Okay, and same thing?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right.
To the best of my knowledge.
Okay, all right. I was just looking and it says, I'm done.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Lastly, the total cost of expenditures actually shown on this agenda is $393,378. Also, I noticed on the one that I printed off at 442 on my home computer and the one here, the price has changed in resolution number 10 from 50 that was shown on the one that's on the website to 48. When was that changed? I'm just curious.
We understand you're curious, Ms. Finnegan. That's
Yeah,
right.
no, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
We understand that.
Mr. President, Hurricane Electronics submitted another bid, another quote to us for the equipment work. And
Right.
And it was we just got it in, so that's why it went down, if that's what you're asking.
No, I was asking at 442, I printed this off to bring it with me, and then I just picked this one up, and it says that it's now 48 for the agreement with Marcus Cable.
Yes, the price has changed from the first quote we got to this quote,
And so I see, so you're saying you just received it between the 442 and now?
from the latest to
Okay.
print this to have on the
Okay,
agenda.
okay, thank you. Lastly, as I said, the total cost of expenditures actually shown on this agenda is $393,378. However, if you add the amounts not shown, which includes the $2,150,000 that the city is portion of the MOU, plus others, and that comes to $2,545,378, and the $10,000 to $15,000, which would be about now making it $2,600,000. I spoke to Dennis Mullins when we were discussing this, and he brought up an interesting question. If the 1 cent sales tax increase had not been approved, would these expenditures and previous ones take place?
Ms. Finnegan, just let me say, you brought out a lot of information, and like you said, you're curious about a lot of stuff. That's a question that we can't answer, but one thing possibly that could have happened, public safety may not be where it is. Sanitation may not be where it is, because all of these areas in the city that we operate, from my standpoint, money would have to come from somewhere, so evidently we would probably have to draw it from our general fund if it wasn't there, so we wouldn't probably be in as great a shape as we are to provide services to you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Mayor, you have a report?
Yes, sir. I'm going to ask Doug Mosley to come up. And I'll ask him to take the microphone first and talk about our
Thank you.
trip to New York City.
Yes, we recently went up to New York to meet with S&P for our ratings update in conjunction with the bond refinancing that we went through. We were able to secure a two-step increase, which was significant, especially considering we actually had a single-step increase last year. It's not very often that a municipality gets that, so it was very much a validation of everything that we've been doing. And then we also, this last week, were able to move forward with the bond refinancing, and that saved $1,084,000 over the life of those bonds, which is very, very significant.
Thank you, Mr. Mosley. And that's approximately probably $100,000 or more than what we did before because of the upgrade in the bond rating.
Yes, right.
Thank you.
Yes, and I'm going to tell you, New York City is a great place, but there's no place like home. I was never so pleased as to know that I was heading south. But councilors, I previously announced that I would be presenting the mayor's budget to you on the first or second meeting in August, and I want to let you know that I will be making that presentation on August 19th. I have not yet set a date for our budget hearing, but we'll inform you on that just as soon as it is confirmed, and I've been working closely with some to get those dates coordinated there. But in that proposed budget, you will see some changes. Some, for example, are 911 charges. They are being placed in each fire and police department, so that way it's, because those are direct costs to those departments. Our building custodians are going to be moved into our facility maintenance line items. We're also creating a line item for cemeteries as well. Our cemeteries, Prattville is celebrating its 175 years this year, and our cemeteries are part of our history, and so with that line item there, we should be able to maintain those to the level that they should be for the city of Prattville. But also another possibility, some of our trust fund money is going to be moved along into our paving projects line item. So that way, because the rising cost of gas, rising cost of oil, petroleum is what I should have said, asphalt is going up, cars are getting better fuel mileage. It's very difficult for what we had utilized in the past to keep up with the cost of our paving there. So hopefully you'll be able to see that in the upcoming budget and approve that as you see fit. But several of us took a trip to Robinson Iron to check on a Heritage Park fountain last Friday. It's coming right along and should be finished by the end of this week. We're putting together an event for our fountain's return, and we'll keep you all updated. I'm thankful you all will be a part of these festivals, which will also celebrate Prattville's 175th year. Just as an FYI, the Musgrove family, a long-standing family here in Prattville, had this fountain commissioned in 1989, and Luke Robinson of Robinson Iron told us that the base of our fountain was the first of its kind crafted at their foundry. We've gotten some great ideas from Councilor Bowles from the time capsule, and also know Councilor Boone is working hard at pulling together different things from her district. And if you have anything from your own district, please get with Department Parks and Recs, Kelly Cook, as you get those items together. This will be a part of a fountain event as well. Moving right on along, tonight is National Night Out, and our red and blue teams have worked hard to pull together a great event for all of our residents of Prattville and its partners. You know, the events run from 5 until 8 p.m. tonight, and I hope we'll have time to go by and check it all out. This is the third year, if I'm not mistaken, and I think it's just another way for us to pull the community together and actually promote some of the different equipment that the city utilizes in our first responders there. And no telling, out of those crowds there, you might find one of our up-and-coming first responders as they move around the event tonight. Council President Wood and I just returned from EDAA conference meeting, and I want to share with you a few things that I learned, and a few of them are job retention, job creation, along with the importance of location and accessibility, workforce development, and quality of life in the community, coupled with education. All these add up to a community working together. Most everything on our agenda tonight is about moving our community and our partners at Prattville forward. You know, at this grassroots level of government, and I'll tell you the truth, I really love this grassroots level of government. One of our jobs is helping our citizens be good neighbors. And on our consent agenda items 1 and 2, plus item 1 on our regular agenda is us helping people be good neighbors here in Prattville. Items 3, 4, and 5, number 3 helps us maintain our city buildings and structures. Number 4 is a partnership to help with our promotional process for the future. Number 5 is an annual requirement of the audit. And the rest of the agenda, excluding item 10, is basically need of resolution ordinances, and I ask that you move forward with them. Item 10 is a purchase of a communications tower that will be needed to keep our first responders connected and responding as needed by our community. Item number 2, and I'll save that basically for last intentionally. Councilors, item number 2, this in a nutshell is an economic development partnership. This is about job retention, job creation, and a partnership with our fellow local government entities. Councilors, I have heard rumors about new taxes. Please let it be known that number 2 is not about levying new taxes, but is a partnership to help generate a unified government to help our government serve. But most importantly, it's about the future of public education, public safety, and public traffic patterns. Taxes are never welcomed by our community, but again, there are no new taxes levied in resolution number 2. This administration is not going to mortgage the resources posterity. We have formulated partnerships and are working together to improve our community, to increase our revenues, helping to provide the core services while keeping a watchful eye on cost and planning for our future. Councilors, I ask one of two things: either approve resolution number 2 or work with our state government to repeal Amendment 772. And until 772 is changed, these are our rules of engagement. Again, if we don't use 772, we will lose jobs and revenues to other communities. That said, Mr. President, it's the end of my report.
Thank you, Mayor. Does any council members have any questions, comments for the mayor? Complaints? Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
At this time, we have a report from the Council on Special Committees. Councilor Striplin?
No, sir.
Councilor Brown?
No, sir.
Councilor Starnes?
No, sir.
Councilor Bowles?
No, sir.
Councilor Boone?
Yes, sir. Briefly, the Parks and Rec and Urban Management Committees met this afternoon to review our budget and begin formulating ideas with the department heads on how to best use funds in the next year, and I'm very optimistic about how our budget will look. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we'll go into our agenda. We do have 2 items on the consent agenda. Resolution number 1 is to declare various weedy lots to be a public nuisance in ordinary abatement per Title 11, Chapter 67 of the Code of Alabama, 1975, as amended. Number 2 is a resolution to set a public hearing to declare various weedy lots to be a public nuisance in ordinary abatement per Title 11, Chapter 67 of the Code of Alabama, 1975, as amended. Do we have a motion to place these 2 items on a consent agenda?
Motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Be any discussion? All in favor of placing these items on a consent agenda signify by raising your right hand. These 2 items have been placed on a consent agenda. Will be any discussion on these 2 items? All in favor of adoption signify by raising your right hand. And these items are adopted. On the agenda, item number 1 is to authorize the code enforcement officer to proceed with the demolition of a repair of a dilapidated structure located at 209 J Street. This was held from July the 15th, 2014. Will be any further discussion on this? If not, we had move to approve it. All in favor of approving it signify by raising your right hand. And item number 1 is approved. Resolution number 2 is authorize the mayor to enter into a memorandum of understanding with Long Lewis of the River Region Incorporated, Target County, Laney Properties Limited, and the Prattville Water Works Board for the purpose of economic development. Councilor Brown, will you read it, please?
Yes, sir. Whereas Amendment Number 772 of the Constitution of Alabama, 1901, Section 94.01C2 of the recompiled Constitution of Alabama authorizes the city to lend its credit to or grant public funds and things of value to aid any corporation or other business entity for the purpose of promoting the economic development within its jurisdiction. And whereas Long Lewis of the River Region Incorporated currently operates an automobile retail sales and service business in the city of Prattville. And whereas Long Lewis is in the process of developing and improving certain real estate located in the city and will continue to operate an automobile retail sales and service business on it. And whereas Long Lewis commits that this project will create a total of approximately 80 full-time direct employees of the company and represent a capital investment equal to approximately $6 million. And whereas the City of Prattville, Autauga County, Laney Properties Limited, and the Prattville Waterworks Board desire to provide certain economic assistance to Long Lewis to assist with the construction and infrastructure required for such project, subject to terms and conditions as outlined in the attached MOU. And whereas the public benefits sought to be received by approval of the attached MOU include 1. Promotion of local economic and commercial development and the stimulation of the local economy. 2. Increasing employment opportunities in the City of Prattville and Autauga County. 3. Expanding the city and county's tax base, which will result in additional tax revenues for the city and county. And 4. Enhance the overall quality of life of the citizens of the city and county. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Prattville hereby authorizes and empowers the mayor to enter into the attached MOU with Long Lewis of the River Region Incorporated, Autauga County, Laney Properties Limited, and the Prattville Waterworks Board for the purpose of economic development. Be it further resolved that the City Council of the City of Prattville hereby authorizes and empowers the mayor of the City of Prattville to execute any and all documents necessary to have this work performed for and on behalf of the City of Prattville. I so move, Mr. President.
Have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Will be any discussion on this item? Yes.
Yes, sir. I would just like to speak to some of the concerns that we had earlier this evening. I think that now is probably the best time to do that. I've had several individuals contact me, whether through email or telephone, and some who I have just run into in life in Prattville by living here. People are talking about what's going on politically, what's happening, and I've had some concerns. I've had some questions. More than anything, what I've addressed is confusion, because this is a long document and there's a lot of coverage and there is a lot of confusion, even to those of us who are working professionally with such a document and such an agreement. So almost every person who has contacted me has finished the discussion favorably, feeling that this is the best move for what's happening in Prattville. After they've taken the time to hear the talking points, to hear what we're looking at, to hear the long-range plans that we are making, most everyone has left saying, well, I just wish I had known that before. So I'd like to say that every person who has contacted me has been addressed and has been answered. Beforehand, when you hear about these things, that is the time that you contact your counselor, you speak to them. That's what we're here for. That's why we're elected, is to handle this. And I know this board, and I know that everyone sitting here is also willing to take the calls, to take your emails, to listen to you, the citizens of Prattville, and your concerns. And I'm very happy to do that at any time. And I feel that everyone who contacted me was answered until they understood everything they needed to. And if I couldn't explain it well enough, then there's a whole panel of people that I can pass those complaints or questions up to. I'd also like to say that over the years, my 2 years almost in service, as well as my campaigning time, as well as my time as a voter in the city of Prattville since I was 18 years old, what I keep hearing is, what can we do to keep business in Autauga County, to move business to Autauga County? We don't want to see it go elsewhere. I hear that over and over again, even before I was in this realm. And so tonight, folks, I have an answer for you. This is what you do to keep business in Autauga County. This is the first step. This is what we are doing. It is a forward step for the city of Prattville to keep business here, to increase our tax base. And I'd like to just say in general that I support this agreement because it is a joint effort between our county. Our county has shown a real pledge of faith here to our city. They have limited resources, you know that, and they have said, here's what we can do to join you. I'm thrilled to join the county and the city together. Our relations have not always been as beaming as I see them tonight. I'm thrilled that the county and the city, as well as our BOE, and I have 2 children in public schools in Prattville. Our BOE is going to benefit from this as well, and they've come alongside us as well. This is a tri-government partnership, and I'm proud to join that tri-government partnership tonight. And I believe that there are more benefits than you can ever know are going to happen. We're going to have increased and improved infrastructure in the city of Prattville. We are going to have an increase in our public safety in the city of Prattville, and we're going to have a new tax base that has just begun to grow. So please join me in my support of this. And if you have questions about this or any other economic development plan that we start in the city of Prattville, my doors, my phones, my emails are open, and I know that the rest of the board feels this way. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Boone. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by raising your right hand. And this item is adopted. Number 3, to authorize the hiring of 1 facility maintenance superintendent to fill a previously non-filled or newly budgeted position in the facility maintenance department at an annual cost not to exceed $60,140 for salary and benefits. Councilor Brown, will you read it, please?
Yes, sir. Whereas the City of Prattville Facilities Maintenance Department has a need to hire 1 facilities maintenance superintendent, and whereas the City Council has adopted a resolution requiring council authorization to fill previously non-filled or newly budgeted positions, and whereas the annual cost of said employee will not exceed $60,140 for salary and benefits, and whereas this is a budgeted position in the Facilities Maintenance Department, now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Prattville that up to $60,140 is hereby authorized to be expended for the purpose of hiring 1 facilities maintenance superintendent, and said funds are hereby approved and appropriated from the fiscal year 2014 budget line items facility maintenance, salary and wages, workman's compensation, retirement, group health insurance, group life insurance, and FICA. Be it further resolved that by the City Council of the City of Prattville that the Human Resources Department is authorized to implement the hiring process as budgeted. So moved, Mr. President.
We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. We'll be in a discussion on this item. All in favor signify by raising your right hand. All opposed? And this resolution passes with 1 opposed. Number 4 is a resolution to authorize the mayor to enter into agreement with Auburn University at Auburn University at Montgomery, Organization Consulting Solutions, University Outreach to provide consulting services to develop and validate the promotional process of sergeant, captain, and battalion chief with the fire department at a cost not to exceed $73,000. Councilor Boone, will you read it, please?
Yes, sir. Whereas the fire department has identified a need for consulting services for the promotional process for sergeant, captain, and battalion chief. Number 1, to conduct job analysis studies. Number 2, to develop valid selection procedures. Number 3, to develop appropriate study materials. Number 4, to conduct an orientation session for candidates for each rank. Number 5, to prepare job analysis and content validation reports. And whereas the city desires to retain Auburn University Montgomery Organizational Consulting Solutions, University Outreach to provide paid services, and whereas AUM shall be compensated for the services provided at a cost not to exceed $73,000. And whereas said cost shall be budgeted over fiscal years 2015, 2016, and 2017. And whereas Section 41-16-51A3 Code of Alabama 1975 as amended allows contracts to secure services with consultants possessing a high degree of professional skill to be let without competitive bidding. Therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Prattville that the mayor is authorized and empowered to enter into a memorandum of agreement with AUM for such consulting services. Be it further resolved by the City Council of the City of Prattville that funds in an amount not to exceed $73,000 are hereby authorized and approved to be paid to AUM, and said funds shall be appropriated from fiscal year 2015, 2016, and 2017 budget line item Fire Department Training Development. So moved, Mr. President.
We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second? Second. We have a second. Be in discussion on this item, Councilor Bowles.
First, I must say thank you to Ms. Boone I had oral surgery yesterday, and I really can't. That's the reason I'm talking funny. I'm not quite back to 100% yet. The fire committee did meet on this, and we are in favor of this. If it would be okay by the mayor and President Wood, I would like to see if, when the mayor does sit down with AUM, to be a part of that and report back to the council about exactly what's going on with this, because I feel like it's going to be really, really good for our city in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Be any further discussion on this? All in favor signify by raising your right hand. And this item is adopted. Number 5 is a resolution to authorize the mayor to sign a 1-year engagement letter with Jackson Thornton Company, PC, for auditing service for fiscal year 2014 at a cost not to exceed $91,000. Councilor Strickland, will you read it, please?
Yes, sir. Whereas Section 1143-85 Code of Alabama 1975 as amended requires the city to conduct an annual audit of the city's finances. And whereas Jackson Thornton and Company PC provided auditing services to the city of Prattville for fiscal year 2013. And whereas Jackson Thornton and Company PC will best serve as auditors to provide the city with the necessary expertise. And whereas the city of Prattville desires that the city's fiscal year 2014 audit service be awarded to the firm of Jackson Thornton and Company PC. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Prattville hereby authorizes the mayor to sign an engagement letter with Jackson Thornton and Company PC and funds in the amount not to exceed $79,000 for an annual audit and $12,000 for a single audit, if necessary, are hereby approved and appropriated to be paid for the fiscal year 2015 general fund budget. So moved, Mr. President.
We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Will there be any discussion on this item? All in favor signify by raising your right hand. And this item is adopted. Item number 6 is resolution to award bid number 014012 to Otaga Automotive LLC, doing business as Gilmore Ford, now known as Long Lewis of the River Region Incorporated, doing business as Long Lewis Ford, for 2015 Police Interceptor SUV for the police department at a cost of $26,018. Councilor Stearns, will you read it, please?
Yes, sir. Whereas the City of Prattville Police Department has a need for one 2015 Police Interceptor SUV, and whereas 4 bids were let for the police department for said vehicles, and whereas 1 sealed bid was received in Otaga Automotive LLC, doing business as Gilmore Ford, now known as Long Lewis of the River Region Incorporated, doing business as Long Lewis Ford, was the lowest responsible bidder with a cost of $26,018, and now therefore be resolved by the City Council of the City of Prattville that fiscal 2014 budget line item Police Department vehicle maintenance is hereby reduced by $26,018, and that fiscal 2014 budget line item Police Department capital outlay is hereby increased by $26,018. Be it further resolved that the City Council of the City of Prattville hereby awards bid number 14-10 in the amount of $26,018 to Otaga Automotive LLC, doing business as Gilmore Ford, now known as Long Lewis of River Region Incorporated, doing business as Long Lewis Ford, for one 2015 Police Interceptor SUV, and said funds are approved and appropriated from the fiscal 2014 budget line item Police Department capital outlay. So moved, Mr. President.
We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Be any discussion on this item? All in favor signify by raising your right hand. And this item is adopted. Item number 7 is a resolution to amend FY 2014 budget to make payment to Central Alabama Crime Stoppers for a contract for services in the amount not to exceed $2,500. Councilor Stearns, will you read it, please?
Yes, sir. Whereas the City Council of the City of Prattville adopted Resolution Book 2013, page 143, on October 1st, 2013, to authorize the mayor to sign any contracts for service for community initiatives as specified in fiscal 2013-14 budget. And whereas Central Alabama Crime Stoppers is specified in fiscal 2013-14 budget under community initiatives. And whereas the City of Prattville desires to enter into a contract for services with Central Alabama Crime Stoppers for services provided. Now therefore be resolved by the City Council of the City of Prattville that fiscal 2014 budget line item bulletproof vest grant reserves is hereby reduced by $2,500, and that fiscal 2014 budget line item community initiatives Crime Stoppers is hereby increased to $2,500. Be it further resolved by the City Council of Prattville that funds in the amount of $2,500 are hereby approved and appropriated from fiscal year 2014 budget line item community initiatives Crime Stoppers and are to be paid to Central Alabama Crime Stoppers for a contract of services. So moved, Mr. President.
We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Will be any discussion on this item? All in favor signify by raising your right hand. And this item is adopted. Item number 8 is a resolution to release funds for the purchase of one Z-Master Toro lawnmower from Prattville Outdoors for the Urban Management Department at a cost not to exceed $12,720. Councilor Boone, will you read it, please?
Yes, sir. Whereas the City of Prattville has a need to purchase one Z-Master Kubota Diesel 60 Deck Toro lawn mower for the Urban Management Department, and whereas said mower is available from Prattville Outdoors at a cost not to exceed $12,720, and whereas said mower is a budgeted expense for the Urban Management Department, now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Prattville that said funds in an amount not to exceed $12,720 are hereby authorized and approved to be paid to Prattville Outdoors, and funds are approved and appropriated from fiscal year 2014 budget line item Urban Management Department capital outlay. So moved, Mr. President.
You have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second? Second. You have a second. Will be any discussion on this item? All in favor signify by raising your right hand. And this item is adopted. Resolution number 9 is to authorize the mayor to submit an application to the Alabama Historic Commission for a FY 2015 capital enhancement grant. Councilor Starnes, will you read it, please?
Yes, sir. Whereas the Alabama Historical Commission is currently accepting application for fiscal 2015 capital enhancements grant program. And whereas the City of Prattville owns and maintains McWilliam Smith Rice Waite House at 102 East Main Street. And whereas the McWilliam Smith Rice Waite House has a contributing property to the Daniel Pratt Historical District is eligible for the AHC grant. And whereas the City of Prattville has determined the roof repair and shingle replacement are necessary for preservation of the building and continued operation of the Pratt-Gon Museum and Welcome Center. And now therefore be resolved by the City Council of the City of Prattville that Mayor Bill Gillespie Jr. is hereby authorized and empowered to make application for $10,000 from the Alabama Historical Commission fiscal 2015 capital enhancements grant program to be used for replacement of the roof of the McWilliam Smith Rice Waite House. Be it further resolved by the City Council of the City of Prattville that Mayor Gillespie is authorized to sign all documents and insurance necessary to complete and submit said application. So moved, Mr. President.
You have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
You have a second. Will be any discussion on this item? All in favor signify by raising your right hand. And this item is adopted. Item number 10 is to authorize the mayor to enter into agreement with Marcus Cable of Alabama, LLC for the purchase of a communications tower and property at a cost not to exceed $80,000 and to release additional funds for improvement at a cost not to exceed $48,000. Councilor Boone, will you read it, please?
Yes, sir. Whereas the City of Prattville has a need to improve communication abilities for the fire department and the police department, and whereas Marcus Cable of Alabama, LLC owns a 403-foot guy lattice tower located on the property as described in Exhibit A attached, and whereas said tower shall allow for improved communication abilities for the public safety departments of the City of Prattville, and whereas the cost of purchase to said tower and property shall not exceed $80,000, and whereas said tower shall need improvements and the cost said improvement shall not exceed $48,000. Be it therefore resolved by the City Council of the City of Prattville that funds in the amount of $80,000 are hereby authorized and approved to be paid to Marcus Cable of Alabama, LLC, and funds in an amount not to exceed $48,000 are authorized and approved for improvements, and said funds are approved and appropriated from the fiscal year 2014 Capital Improvements Fund. Be it further resolved that the City Council of the City of Prattville hereby authorizes and empowers the Mayor of the City of Prattville to enter into an agreement with Marcus Cable of Alabama, LLC as attached, and to execute any and all documents necessary to complete said purchase on behalf of the City of Prattville. So moved, Mr. President.
We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. I've just been informed by the city attorney that this needs to be held. Someone like to make that motion?
Motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second to hold?
Second.
We have a second. There be any discussion on holding this item? All in favor signify by raising your right hand. And this item will be held. Number 11 is an ordinance to grant a franchise agreement to Marcus Cable of Alabama LLC, doing business as Charter Communications, to construct, operate, and maintain a cable system in the city of Prattville, and to set forth the conditions accompanying the grant of the franchise. Councilor Strickland, will you read it, please?
Yes, sir. To grant a franchise agreement to Marcus Cable of Alabama LLC, doing business as Charter Communications, to construct, operate, and maintain a cable system in the city of Prattville, and to set forth the conditions accompanying the grant for the franchise. So move, Mr. President.
We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. This is an ordinance of permanent nature. Rules must be suspended unanimously in order to be considered. Do we have a motion to suspend the rules?
Motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor of suspending the rules signify by raising your right hand. The rules have now been suspended. We'll be in discussion on this item. All in favor of adoption signify by raising your right hand. And this item is now adopted. Item number 12 is an ordinance also to grant a franchise agreement to Knowledge of Montgomery Incorporated to construct, operate, and maintain a cable system in the city of Prattville, and to set forth the conditions accompanying the grant of the franchise. Councilor Strickland, will you read it, please?
Yes, sir. To grant a franchise agreement to Knowledge of Montgomery Incorporated to construct, operate, and maintain a cable system in the city of Prattville, and to set forth the conditions accompanying the grant of the franchise. So move, Mr. President.
We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. This also is an ordinance of permanent nature, so the rules must be suspended unanimously. We have a motion?
Motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor of suspending the rules signify by raising your right hand. The rules have now been suspended. We'll be in a discussion on this ordinance. All in favor signify by raising your right hand. And this ordinance is adopted. Item number 13 is an ordinance to surplus 2 vehicles from the Facilities Maintenance Department. Councilor Boone, will you read it, please?
Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Prattville, Alabama as follows, that the vehicles listed below are hereby declared surplus of the Facilities Maintenance Department and are to be removed from the inventory of said department. Department number 17-002, 2000 Ford F-150, VIN number 1FTRX17L8YNB92744. Department 17-004, 1995 Dodge Dakota, VIN number 1B7FL26X7SW943603. Be it further ordained that the City Council instructs the mayor to sell said vehicles on govdeals.com and that proceeds be deposited into the general fund. So moved, Mr. President.
We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second? We have a second. This ordinance also must have the rules suspended in order to be considered. Do we have a motion to suspend the rules?
Motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor of suspending the rules signify by raising your right hand. And the rules have now been suspended. We'll be in a discussion on this ordinance. All in favor signify by raising your right hand. And this item is adopted. Item number 14 is an ordinance to surplus 1 generator from Fire Station 1 for the fire department. Councilor Boone, will you read it, please?
Yes, sir. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Prattville, Alabama as follows, that the equipment listed below is hereby declared surplus of the fire department and is to be removed from the inventory of said departments. Department number 09-404, generator, serial number 70038-2. Be it further ordained that the City Council instructs the mayor to sell said equipment on govdeals.com and proceeds be deposited into the general fund. So move, Mr. President.
We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. This item also must have the rules suspended in order to be considered. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor of suspending the rules signify by raising your right hand. The rules are now suspended. Will be any discussion on this item? All in favor signify by raising your right hand. And this item passes. Item number 15 is an ordinance to surplus equipment from the wastewater department. Councilor Strickland, will you read it, please?
Yes, sir. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Prattville, Alabama as follows, that the equipment listed below is hereby declared surplus of the wastewater department and is to be removed from the inventory of said department. Grasshopper 928D, zero-turn lawnmower, serial number 5110831, trailer-mounted hydro washer, no serial number available. Yamaha Terra Pro, four-wheeler, no serial number available. Be it further ordained that the City Council instructs the mayor to sell said vehicles on gov.deals.com and that the proceeds be deposited into the Wastewater Enterprise Fund. So moved, Mr. President.
Have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second? Second. We have a second. This item also must have the rules suspended in order to be considered. Do we have a motion? So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor of suspending the rules signify by raising your right hand. The rules have now been suspended. Any discussion on this item? All in favor of this item signify by raising your right hand. And this item is adopted. That's it. That exhausts our agenda for tonight. At this time, we'll have comments from persons present on any other item that they like to discuss. Any other item? Yes, ma'am.
John Lee Finnegan at 211 Deer Trace. Is it possible to ask for just clarification on the questions that I asked before, just to be sure that I got the right information? For example, I want to ask if that position again for the new the superintendent for the facilities maintenance is a replacement. It is not a new position. It's for a current position.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Boy, excuse me, my voice is going. Also that the sergeant, captains, and battalion chiefs are current positions. They were renamed.
I can't answer that. Is the chief still here?
Yeah, it is correct, okay. Thank you. One other thing. And also, when you pass the resolution number 12, I did not notice. Does the name change not have to be considered, or is that just part of it? It says Knology of Montgomery, and I believe it's officially WOW. I wonder if there's any legality in that.
Mr. McDowell.
WOW owns Knology.
Okay.
The company is still operating as Knology.
Okay. So is it Knology doing business as WOW, or is that how? I'm just curious.
Well, I know the franchise is with Knology. I just know that that's who we're doing business with in the state of Alabama.
Okay, so it is Knology then?
Yes.
Oh, okay, thank you. I did not know that. Also, regarding Councilor Boone's comments, she said that somebody asked us, how do we keep this in Watauga County? And my comment is, I wish that had been thought about when 2005, 2006 incentives were being considered, and perhaps we would not be in this position that we are now. So that's all I'm going to say.
Thank you very much for your comments, Ms. Finnegan. And as Councilor Boone so eloquently stated, she is a counselor that represents some of you all out there, and I'm sure she would be glad to answer all of your questions if you would relate them to her and any other council member. We appreciate that. Anyone else like to speak? Mayor, you have closing comments?
Yes, there's mentioned earlier by our finance director, our upgrading for a bond rating there, I think was a very significant I'm lost for words right now. It's a very significant process there that actually not too many communities can go back to S&P 1 year and ask that for you to have your finances checked and they upgrade you, and then you go back the next year, you ask them to recheck your finances and you get upgraded 2 steps. To me, that really shows the strength of our financial footprint, where it is not quite where it needs to be yet. We're still definitely moving that right direction, and it's because of a lot of hard work by this council, by these department heads, by the employees, but then also by the citizens themselves. I saw a text earlier where we actually have a community group that's going out to the creek and doing some work there, and we have other community groups, excuse me, going to various other areas, being a true partner of Prattville, and and that's what it's going to really take to move this community forward, and also this state and this country too. If we're going to continue to move in the global manner that in some shape, form, or fashion is what we're a part of. We're no longer just a small one-horse town, and a lot of that has to do because of technology, that if we don't keep up, well, we will definitely slide behind. But thank you for all that you do. This was a lot of hard work tonight, but I think you guys did it extremely well. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Stripley.
No, sir.
Councilor Brown.
Yes, sir. I see that Mr. Johnson came in, and I'd just like to thank him on behalf of the council for partnering with us on this project. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Also, there'll be a Streets Committee meeting tomorrow, August 6th at 3 p.m. in the City Hall Annex.
Thank you. Councilor Starnes.
No, sir.
Councilor Bowles.
Yes, sir. With my tooth being the way it is, I will keep my comments short. I have so much I would love to say, but I want to say thanks to Mayor Gillespie, to President Wood, for the time y'all taken out of your schedules the last 3 or 4 months. Thank you to Mrs. Brown, Mr. Chambliss for the time they put in. What y'all saw tonight was a conglomerate of months and months and months of tireless work between the city, the county, the board. A lot of different people went to work on this thing, and they all worked together like a well-oiled machine. To our finance director, Doug, for all the miles you've traveled, taken away from your family. The AAA is just amazing. And that really, really speaks volume to what this city has accomplished since Mayor Gillespie has taken reins. I mean, absolute volumes. And unless you're sitting where we're sitting, a lot of people don't comprehend how big that is. And it just speaks well of the department heads and our citizens for shopping in Prattville. Me personally, I love this town. My roots run deep. That's the reason I ran for this office. That's the reason I put up with this junk. Is because I absolutely love this city, as does everybody else that sits on this board. And we would not dare, in our minds, ever put our city in harm's way. The same with our county. Everything we do, we sweat over, we pour over, we pray over, and we make the right decision for our district. Thank you, men. Thank you, ladies, for your time and your energy that you put in. It all came to fruition, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Boone. Thank you all. Again, recognize Commission Chairman Carl Johnson for coming in. I think they dealt with this same situation tonight. Again, I want to applaud the county, the city, all city employees, Waterworks Board, all entities that had played a part in bringing this deal to fruition. One thing I want to throw out tonight that maybe people haven't even paid attention. We're in competition. And if you notice right next door, I don't know if they got anybody watching over there in Montgomery, but Stivers Ford just went through the same thing with the city of Montgomery. The very same thing. But it does not have the publicity that we do have in Prattville. With that being said, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for what you've done. Thank you all for coming. I want to thank these people up here, especially the committees. I encourage you all to continue meeting as I always have. You meet, you discuss these issues with your various committees, and you've done a great job with it. City employees have done a great job, and I applaud each of you. With that being said, the mayor spoke about facility maintenance tonight. I am adding, and clerk, will you make record of this? Facility maintenance will become a part of the sanitation and wastewater committee. And I think he spoke about adding employees, so we will put that department up on sanitation and wastewater. With that being said, our next council meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, August 19, 2014 at 6 p.m. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by raising your right hand. We are now adjourned.